Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Freddie. So today I wanted to tell you probably 15 or 20 tips on reading and how I read, just to help you guys. Like I said before, I might turn this into a mini course that's going to be free, but I'll get into the details more in that course if you guys really care about like how I choose a book and when I choose to discard a book or not read a book, or how I choose to not read chapters, or what I read and don't read in a book. And which is like stories and things like that. At least on the second read, I just never read stories. I cross out stories on the first read after I read them, and then I never read them again. And so like I can get into those things and make that a course. But up until now, I'm just gonna do this video telling you guys some reading tips from me, and and some reasons why I say what I do about reading, and also how I read with just a pen. I have a pen somewhere all the time. If you don't have pens everywhere, here's a tip. So put yellow pads, these yellow pads, or the bigger ones in your car, and put one in your, near your bed, put one on your desk, put one in everywhere in your house, put one near the outside the slider door so you can go grab it and walk outside. Do whatever, put yellow pads everywhere, and then do the same thing with books. And so like everywhere you go, put one at your friend's house. And so everywhere you go, you can always pick up a book, and then you can always be able to take notes on what you learn, because with active learning, it's the best way to learn and to say how you're going to implement something, and then to schedule it so that it actually happens, because you actually go do that thing when you said you're going to do it. And then learning, really firing those new neurons in your brain and learning that thing that you actually read, instead of just reading it and retaining it and remembering something about it. So you're not just spewing memories, you're actually spewing facts, things that you've seen that are nuanced and like weird and specific to that situation. But you have to go implement and try that thing to ever see that and figure that out. So then when you're telling people, you're very certain. It's a different type of certainty than when you just have read it and seen it and remember it, or heard it even worse, and then are just saying it over and over. And so try not to do that, but it's okay if you do a little bit, because we all do that. So check me out. You want to repeat some things from people. You want to repeat like quotes that are like thought hooks. Like if you repeat a quote from Henry Ford, you like remember all that stuff you read about Henry Ford. And so you could do that. I don't know. Let me just leave it at that. So how do I read? Well, let me just start with the tips, and then we'll get into it. Okay. So 1, read with a pen. Never don't read with a pen. Put pens everywhere too. Put pens in your car, put pens in your pocket, put pens in your books. Like this one is a bookmark. That's just a pen. It kind of like messes with the book's spine, but that's the price I'm willing to pay. So read with a pen. Why? Because you can underline words while you're reading for your eyes to follow, because your eyes, when they're going across a page without anything pointing, actually skip around. They kind of move back and forth. They kind of jitter around and up and down. And so since they don't move smoothly across a page, you lose your place in a book a lot. And when you lose your page, what you do actually that causes the problem is you start to line skip. You start to go back up to the top and read what you just read again and again and again. And next thing you know, you've been reading the same book for 15 weeks on the same page, because you keep reading it and your brain gets bored. And when your brain gets bored, it doesn't learn, because learning is all state dependent. So you should actually get really excited and jump around before you start reading, not be really bored and thinking, what's the least I can get away with? It should be, what's the most I can possibly do in this time that I have? And that's how you should read. It shouldn't be the other way around. So you need to, 1, read what you love. Read what you love until you love reading. Do not read boring stuff to you. Do not read super high level stuff. Start with foundational stuff, because if you do get bored, again, you're going to do this next thing. And so when you line skip and your brain gets bored, because you keep reading the same thing over and over, and when you get to the bottom of the page, you can't remember what you read at the top of the page. The reason all that stuff happens is because you're bored. And you get bored because you're line skipping. And you're line skipping, so you get bored, and then you close your book. And when you close your book, you put it down and you never read it again. And when you do read it again, you read that same page, you do the same thing, no pen, no finger, no anything. A lot of people use their finger. I use basically any object that is straight and can allow me to follow a page. I'll use a leaf, a pine needle. I'll use anything. And so like a pen's really good for me. You can use your finger. I don't see why you can't. I never did it in my life, actually. I don't know, maybe I've done it before, but I definitely just use an object every single time. But it allows you to just follow along in the words, not line skip, and it allows you to read faster. Why is that? Because when you follow the words with a pen, a lot of the words, I think 95% of words that we read are actually known as sight words. And we're not reading them, we just know them by sight, like the word stop, like a stop sign. Like you instantly know it when you see it. And that's a lot of words. And so because of that, When you're reading one by one, you're doing a lot of sub vocalizing. When you're doing a lot of sub vocalizing, you're reading one word at a time, or as fast as you can speak. So I'm reading at this speed, and instead of just reading really fast. So why you read really fast with a pen is because since they're sight words, if you just start here and literally move across and move across and move across and move across, a lot of the words on really hard books, you're gonna have trouble. You're gonna see words that you don't know, and you're gonna have to underline them. Go widen your vocabulary while you read. Make it a point to be intentional about getting better while you read at stuff, at life, at speaking, at thinking, at describing. Jordan Peterson said something one time, which is that having a wide vocabulary is like having a wider palette of paints to paint the picture you're trying to tell people. And so, like, because you have a wide vocabulary, you can better describe stuff. You don't get caught up on words and man, what was that word? What is that word I'm thinking of? No, that doesn't happen, because you know the words that you're thinking of, and you know them by definition. You don't just know them because someone told you them. You actually understand what they mean, or because you assumed what they mean. And so widen your vocabulary. So literally on hard books, you're going to have to not know every word by sight, because you're just not going to, but start learning those words. And over time, it gets easier, it gets faster, because you're going to learn those words. You'll see them multiple times. You might even pick up the context from seeing them used, 10 times in one book. You'll just kind of get the context from that too. And again, that's more assuming, but you can also sometimes really get the context easily, or like realize that it's a synonym for something else that you do know what it means. And so, you can learn like that too. But anyways, most of the words are sight words. So when you're just moving the pen across the page over and over, that is going to allow you to literally start to read faster, because you're just skipping most of the words. You're reading them extremely fast because you understand what those words look like by sight. And so continuing to number 2, read in silence or with binaural beats playing, nature sounds playing, and stuff like that quietly, or during when you're working. Use jazz, fast and slow, classical, etc. I'm sure there's a lot of genres you can use to focus. Don't use things that are really wordy. Don't use songs that are songs that you like singing along to. You can't learn and hear new songs while you're sitting here doing, your reading or your work. You're not going to get anything done. Some people, I can multitask. You can't multitask. Your brain does thinking the best when it's just doing it by itself. So no, you can't do work and learn new songs and vacuum the floor and let the dog out. Like, no, you can't. You shouldn't do that. You're not going to retain anything. You're not going to remember anything except maybe one sentence that you keep repeating to yourself over and over so that it just stays there. Like if you're not sitting down with a book and at least a notepad, and if you don't have a notepad, I'll show you a strategy that I have to read with just a pen. But yeah, like write down stuff of how you're going to use things, schedule it. I'm going to use it at this time, tomorrow, next week, and then learn things with the intention to teach people. And so that is how you can learn better just when you're reading in general, and then use those things that you learn. So you really ingrain them in your head. You create that new wrinkle in your brain. And then I said binaural beats because I've actually heard that some people increase their reading speed when they're playing binaural beats, which is just a different frequency, or it puts you into a different wave state or something. And some people, I think, read faster on that, but I know it does focus you in on things like, at least for me, when I play binaural beats and things like that. So that you can just search up on YouTube, binaural beats, 40 hertz beats, and stuff like that. So next, read in at least windows of 20 plus minutes. So that one is not necessarily true. You can actually read for more like 5 minutes, and even by the end of a year, reading 365 days, reading 5 minutes a day, you'll actually read more like 1,800 minutes or something above that. And so I don't know how many hours that is, but you can do the math. But you literally get so much done just by doing these small atomic habits. Read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. His work in there is really good. But yeah, like it's crazy too, because if you just read 1,800 minutes of one single topic that you just really enjoy, maybe that's psychology, maybe it's neuroscience, maybe it's anything that it is, entrepreneurship, self-improvement, and that's kind of a wide variety, but maybe you're reading meditation, you will know so much by your 1,800th minute, that you're reading that book and taking notes of what you've learned and correlating new things you learned to old knowledge that you have. Your friends will literally question you like, whoa, how do you think like that? How do you say that much stuff? How do you have this many ideas around that topic? How do you talk like that about this? How do you formulate a full sentence? Yeah, it's reading books, people. It's reading books. It's just reading anything. So read what you love until you love to read. Keep doing it. I'm going to keep saying it. So anyways, continuing on. Read in windows of 20 plus minutes. I say that because I make it a point to read and take out every distraction and mute my phone and throw it across the room and turn off all my screens and turn off the music and turn off everything unless it's too loud outside and in my house and whatever. And then I put headphones on, and then it's binaural beats, jazz, classical music or nature sounds, whatever you want to, just to tune out, whatever. And so, yeah, like when I do that, I want to at least get in 20 plus minutes. I think 20 plus minutes of reading is some fucking ridiculous amount every single year. So, and that's really nothing at all. You have 20 minutes. I promise you, you do something that you waste 20 minutes on every single day. But even if it's, like I said, 15 or 10 or 5 or 1, you'll go up over time. I promise you, you'll get bored and you'll get faster at reading, of closing it at one page, and you'll just continue to get better. You just need to start, because something Jim Rohn said, which I might play it right here.
The first one, philosophy. Philosophy, in very simple terms, is simply what you know. And what you know greatly affects how your life works out. We might also add, what you don't know greatly affects how your life works out. The idea you miss could be the missing number in trying to put the numbers in the lock. So, what you don't know will hurt you, to correct an old cliche. And to correct another one, ignorance is not bliss. Right? It's important to know.
Develop your philosophy, and your philosophy is simply your way of thinking and making decisions, I believe he said. But it's something every successful person does, and you're going to want to develop your philosophy, develop your thinking, develop your mind by reading knowledge from people's, like I said, life works. I say it again and again and again. People put 70 years, 65 years, 55 years, 28 years into this type of work that they then put in a book of 250 pages that they need you to read. And so you go and read that, and you read their life work in that 200 pages in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. You read it twice. And so you're getting all this information, living through all these different lenses and identities that you never would have in your life, had you been obviously just wandering through and trying to learn stuff for yourself. It's fucking impossible. So stop trying. I'm 21 and people are like, how do you do that? How do you think like that? How do you talk like that? How do you say a full sentence in words that I've never heard? It's like, I'm not even trying. It's literally reading books, people. I was an idiot just like the next guy. I'm an idiot today, dude. And I'm not an idiot because I don't know anything. I'm intelligent by disposition. I just do intelligent things, I think, that are successful, in the sense of they move me towards the goals that I have. But so I'm intelligent by disposition, because I think if you do that, you're intelligent by disposition. You are focusing your energy on stuff that matters, which is working out, which is getting better at meditating and reading, for me, and eating well and doing big things and thinking big and pursuing big ideas and achieving the big goals, and then continuing on, just making them better, and then building skills and helping people while I build skills, and then helping people develop vision and passion so they can figure out how to do the same thing that I did all the time, and that I do all the time. And so they can, get help choosing who they want to be, and then help getting there. And so I want to do that from stages, and I want to do that from, personal brand perspective, but I also want to do it from writing and writing books. And so I'm just going to keep getting better at the things I want to do, which is, being a speaker, being an author, being someone obviously on social media who is an influencer or a teacher or an educator, whatever you want to call it. I'm not even that right now. I'm just someone who wants to help you and be your friend, help you on the way up as you help me on the way up. Hopefully, I don't really care. I just want to help other people. And so because I just think we were put here to do that, clearly, and to live and to whatever, have sex and survive. But other than that, we were here to help and serve other people. I think deep fulfillment comes from serving and helping other people and making progress. And so I just keep making progress and keep helping people, and I think it'll just get better and better and better and better and better. And as they like me more, I get better, because I want to help them more. And because I want to help them more, they like me more, I like me more. Because that is the point of life, is trying to decide, feel good when you're by yourself, feel good about yourself when you're by yourself. You can be in an empty room and you're telling yourself, man, good job, I'm doing good. I'm killing it. I'm doing good. I'm going towards the things that I need to go towards. Good job. If no one else is, if my family's not, if my friends aren't, if everyone's stopping and everyone's questioning what the hell I'm doing, but I'm still doing what I'm doing, good job. Because I'm moving towards my goals. I'm moving towards what I want in life. I don't want what other people want for me in life, unless it is. And that's not bad either. So you want to think contrarian. This is another thing. You want to think contrarian. Contrarian does not mean to think against the grain, or if everyone goes right, instantly go left, but it means to consider left every single time. And then question right every single time. That's what contrarian means. It means to see the crowd, don't follow the crowd unless the crowd's right. But if the crowd's not right and you think you're right because you've developed a methodology for determining right from wrong or wrong from right, and your conclusion is that left is right. And this is my left. Your left is actually over here. But and right is not. And then you instantly take that and you're confident in taking that decision. Why? Because you developed that methodology for determining if things are right or wrong for you, not because of other people. You don't follow other people's opinions, but you also don't not follow them deliberately. Because sometimes the crowd is right, and if you don't follow them, you're gonna fuck yourself. So think contrarian. Don't be crazy either way. Be a rational optimist who thinks contrarian. Read Peter Thiel, 0 to 1. Read the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, and read The Rational Optimist by Matt Ridley. Read really anything by Matt Ridley. I heard that from Naval, and I just can't find it to be any more true. So do that. Read anything from Matt Ridley. He's a scientist and some other things. And so let's continue. This is going to be a long-ass video because, I don't know, I have a lot to say about reading. I just think you should do it. And if you listen to this whole video and you don't go read after, I hope you're crazy. I hope you're crazy. And if you are crazy, that's good, because you need to be kind of crazy to do anything that non-ordinary people do. Ordinary people don't really do anything. So you need to be kind of crazy. But so even if you're crazy, I still respect you. But you better fucking read a book after this, because if you don't, I don't know what I'm doing here. Check me out. So I said, read what you love until you love to read. I said, read everything. I said, read everything until you fear no book. That's a Naval quote. I think he says that you should be able to walk into a library and fear not a single book on the shelf. Read until you get to that point, because that's the only point that you should ever consider stopping. And even then, you probably won't want to. And then I said, like, you don't have to limit your reading. Never be sorry for staying up all night reading a book, or for spending a whole day reading your new book and reading all the way through it because it was so good. Don't be sorry for that. It's not weird. It's abnormal. It's abnormal to your friends because your friends grew up ordinary. Successful people, it's not weird at all. It's actually really normal. So read that book. Read it all day. Read it and read it again. And you know what I'm saying? And so next, I said I was going to say that Munger, I think he said, no, Buffett, I think he said reads for 8 hours a day, or has read 8 hours a day sometimes. Brian Tracy said he reads for 3 hours. And if he's on flights, he can sometimes read for 8 hours. Like, these guys read a lot. It's not weird to read books. If anything, like, for example, for me, like, I have a lot of books, and people are, wow, that's so weird. Why do you have so many books? That's so interesting. I've never seen anybody with a lot of books. And it's like, you know, for a while I was like, that is pretty interesting. I read books. I'm so interesting. No, I'm not. I'm not an outlier for reading books. Any successful person who does anything in this world reads a lot of fucking books. And it's self-education is the only way to educate yourself on your interests. No one is going to bring them to you. And so, like, I'm not an outlier for reading books. If anything, I'm an outlier because I love books so much, or because I just I get energy from reading them. It doesn't even take energy. I can read until the next morning, because I don't know why. And so if anything, I'm an outlier for those reasons. And if maybe it's because I got into books earlier than other people, and I got into them for a different reason. I got into books because I was an anxiety-stricken little weird kid who didn't think you could talk to people, and thought like it was a fixed trait. It was just something that I could not do. And I wasn't someone who talks to people. I was just a shy, weird, can't formulate a sentence person forever to everybody except my closest friends or something. But the point is that, yes, that is why I would be an outlier in that sense. Every successful person reads books, so read books if you want to do anything. That's extremely great. That's different than the normal. If you don't read books, you will not think different than the normal. You only have been taught with the normal notes. Let's continue. So I also wanted to add that your brain does not get full, it actually strengthens. And so, like, you can read a lot of fucking information. You don't have to worry about it getting full, and you're not going to remember any of your best memories, or you're not going to remember your interest in other things, or whatever. You're going to forget all of it. You won't. It'll be fine. So keep reading, keep doing your thing, keep learning from videos, taking notes, how you're going to use it, why you should use it. That's a benefits question that allows you to feel why I should use it, because it's going to make me feel good. It's going to help my mom. It's going to help my grandma. And so what I'm saying is, ask yourself, why should I use it? How should I use it? And when will I use it? And then just continue to do that with your little yellow notepad to the side of your book. And, but anyways, yeah. So, your brain doesn't get full. It strengthens. Your neurons strengthen. So what I wanted to tell you as well, I think I'll show my reading strategy in a different book, or maybe that will be the course. But other than that, I think I'm just going to continue with the tips on this page because I have a lot of them. So let's just keep it going. I said consume less and create more. When you learn a lot, but you don't create at all, you don't actually learn anything. Like I said earlier, there's a big difference between remembering and reading than there is to have learned it and created that new space in your brain. For when you learn something new, it actually creates a new space in your brain as well. But when you use it, it creates a new, and it strengthens that space. So like the first time you do anything, it's awkward, right? You hit a tennis ball weird, or you swing a golf club, or you throw a baseball, throw a football, you lift a weight. It feels weird, right? It's like it's a different feeling than you're used to, and it feels awkward. Then you do it the 10th time, still kind of weird. Then you do it the 100th time, not that weird anymore. Now you do it 150 times. Now it's like getting pretty normal. You get to 200 times or 250 times. You get to 1800 times. Now you're a master. So your neurons that whole time strengthening. They're just firing every single time you keep doing that thing. And sometimes it uses different neurons to do that same action. So it's like I can grab this pen and put it down, and then I can grab this pen and put it down again. And in my brain, 2 different sets of neurons just fired, but both of them strengthened that action. And so like now it just gets more and more normal for me to pick up this pen and put it down, pick up this pen and put it down. And so like, but it happens with everything. This can happen with everything. It's why the growth mindset works. You can become as good as anyone at anything on a long enough time scale if you are putting in effort and deliberate practice. And you're, like I said before, reflecting on things without judgment. You're looking at your past mistakes and your inadequacies with the intention to fix them and learn and get better. Nothing else. You're not trying to call yourself terrible for being. It's like, of course you're terrible. You've never done it before. Just like everyone else is terrible at everything that they've never done. When people are talented and pick up things faster and they learn it faster, that it's a one-off thing. You are also talented at certain things. If it's not soccer and your friend's talented at soccer, it might just be football. It might just be art. It could be anything. Your talent is the rate at which you learn. That's all talent is. It doesn't mean that like someone else is talented, so they're going to be better than you forever. If something is your passion, you're going to pass them on a long enough time scale if it's not theirs. Even if your talent is lower, you learn that thing slower, it does not matter. You'll still pass them on a long enough time scale if you're putting in the effort and the deliberate practice and reflecting on yourself and getting better with the intention to get better all the time. And then so you're always iterating, you're always learning, you're always iterating, and so on. And you just become extremely good at those things, extremely masterful, because you're mastering the skills that it takes to play soccer. All one by one. You're doing those 10,000 shots from the free throw line in basketball so you can get that free throw down. And when you do, people think you did it overnight, and people think you're talented and it happened overnight, and people think that you are the best basketball player. You popped out the womb, just free throws were just disgusting, on point. And so obviously you know that that's not the case. You did all those reps. And so people just don't want to do those reps, and they don't want to talk about the reps. They don't care about them. They like the outcome. They like seeing the result and having the mystery Kobe Bryant be just Kobe Bryant. He's amazing. There's no way I could ever be that. There's no way I could ever be close to that. What it does is it allows us to separate ourselves from success and not have to hold ourselves to the standards of, say, Kobe Bryant. There's no way I could get that good. But Kobe took, 14,000 shots after practice this year. And so it's like you could be that if you would give up TikTok, and you would give up TV, and you would give up Netflix, and you would give up the movies, and you would give up games, and you would give up all these things, because he doesn't do that. He just plays basketball. And so like it allows us to separate ourselves from when we say like, we just look at the outcome and we praise the outcome. You want to praise the process. You want to say, Kobe, dang, I really respect you. How much work did you put in to get here? But no one wants to say that. They want to say, Kobe, dang, that was crazy. That game you just played, 40,000 shots into your career was so good. You're so amazing. You were born amazing, talented. So that's obviously not how talent works. People think talent works in that way, that they were born like that. But talent is just the speed that you learn that thing. And it's just, I guess the level you can take it if you actually love it. He actually loved basketball and he was talented. So if you actually love something and you're talented, that's your MO, that's your thing. You want to label a bunch of things fascinations and then find your passion, the one you love and you're talented at it, or just the one you love and you want to pursue that one knowing you can get as good as someone who loves it. They're just going to learn faster than you with less reps and maybe less work, because it comes a little more natural to them, and that's just what it is. And you're going to have things like that for you that they don't have. So anyways, let's continue. That's consume less, create more. You basically want to take things from books, use them, create with them. You have a lot of information in your supercomputer too. You don't just need to keep consuming. That's the same with YouTube videos and all that shit. Watch an hour-long podcast, take 10 notes and actually go use those 10 notes. Better yet, take one note, watch only 30 minutes and go use that thing. One really important note from that video, go use that thing. Go try that thing in the smallest way you can. Take a little step in that direction. See what goes wrong or right for you and keep it going. And keep doing this every single day. And so next, I said, read a lot of books, spend a lot of time in the Bible. That was a quote from Coach Wooden. I think that he is right about that. You should spend time, reading religious texts and all these things and widening your mind anyways, your worldview on how other people think in all these things, you don't have to accept every religion that you pick up the book for. I promise you, it's okay. It doesn't have to scare you off. So yeah, pick up texts that you wouldn't normally read, that aren't even have anything, that aren't even like applicable to you or your family or your life or where you grew up, because clearly it has a lot to do with where you were born, and what family you were born into when it comes to like the US and stuff. It's like that what you adopt, what your religion is, and it's like where you were born, it determines your values, and that society also predicts a lot of what you do, what you like, what your interests are. It just does. And so I remember one time Tom Billy told this story about Chernobyl, and he said that in the show Chernobyl, if you guys have ever watched it, there was a scene where they were all in this room, and in Russia at the time, the values were that if you talked down to or criticized or said that they were making a mistake of anyone above you, they would snap their fingers and people would come in, take you away, and take you outside and shoot you. And so because of that, no one wanted to disagree with anything that someone above them was doing. And so how Chernobyl ended up happening was they were in this room, and allegedly, right? They were in this room, in the room with the nuclear reactor. And so the scientists in there were seeing that there was something wrong, seeing that something could possibly go wrong when they tested this nuclear reactor right now. And still, none of the guys, the engineers, the scientists, anyone that saw all these things that were going to go wrong, none of them wanted to tell the guy at the top who's going to press the button to stop doing it, because he was a high-ranking officer, or something of that nature, right? And so because of that, they literally were risking nuclear meltdown. All of them dead. All of them, everything around, nuclear meltdown, because of the values that were set in their society. And so what Tom was saying is that he would, when he first saw it, he thought, I would never not just tell the guy that he's wrong. But you got to remember, in the society, if you did that, you were getting taken out the doors. You were gone. Bye. And so he said, wait, I'm not a fool. Though I might be courageous here, and I say that now to this day, that I would have done that right now, in where I live, where I grew up, and whatever. I'm not a fool. Why he said he's not a fool is because in society, in different societies, you grow up with those values, and you accept those values, and you internalize those values, and you see the reaction of, not maintaining those values. And so you don't break them. And that happens with your friend group. It's why you either fall or rise to the level of your friends because of values. If these guys that your new friends are value working 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 15 hours a day, you will start to value 8 hour, 10 hour, 15 hour days. If they value, on the other hand, sitting on the couch all fucking day and just chilling with the homies and shit, well, then you'll value over time sitting on the fucking couch all day, chilling with the fucking homies and token. And not working. Maybe they only value working 4 hours a fucking day. They say, fuck work. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to work on yourself after you came home from work? But if your new friends value that, you'll do that. If your new friends value the opposite, you'll do that. And so, or if a different group, values doing that, reading after they get home from work and learning about stuff and improving themselves and improving their lives and working on their body and their health and their mind and all these things, their relationships and all these things, then you'll raise up to that level. And so or like I said, you'll fall to the opposite. So either way, the point is that I'm trying to make, values determine how you interact with things, with society, how you take actions, how you think, how you move in this world. If I value only eating desserts and junk food on Friday, then anytime someone offers me desserts and junk food, I instantly say, nope, it's not Friday. Unless it's Friday, then I can eat it. But if it's not Friday, no, I'm skipping it. I'll take that and put it in the garbage. And so it just helps you to think, if you set your own values and you stick to them, and it gives you that fulfillment feeling that you need because you are sticking to your own values. You're listening to yourself and upholding what you set, the rules you set on your own life. People usually don't do this, but you should, because it's very effective. And so if you're able to do this for yourself, then I highly commend you, for one, and two, if you can stick to them, because that's actually the harder part, then you will feel really good. And so anyways, next is that I said, read less books, read more books, more times. And so what I mean by that is literally read less books. If you have 50 books, dude, just stick to 10 and read those 10 8 times, 5 times, twice, and then move on to the next ones. And so because when you do that, you start to really internalize things. Even like when you read a book the first time, if I ask you, hey, what was that book about? You'll tell me, oh, it was about money. It was about finances. And so I'm like, oh, cool. What'd you learn? I learned this about credit cards. And I'll say, cool. What else? And you would have nothing else, right? I don't remember. And so the second time you read it, I come back and I ask you again, hey, what did you learn about? And you tell me a little more. And the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time. And by the sixth time, you're damn near reciting the book to me. Now it's in your head. Now it's ingrained. Now those wrinkles are in your brain. Now you're using it in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day decision making and thinking. Now you've developed your philosophy. Oh yeah, I think this about money. Oh yeah, I do this with my money. See, now you're using it. Before that, but with that first read, you weren't using it yet. I promise you. You got used to the terminology. You understood some of the new language, some of the new stuff that's going on. You understood how it kind of was structured, but you didn't know how it worked. By the fifth time, by the sixth time, by the 10th time, now you know how it works. Now it's yours to use in the world. Now it's a skill you have. It's giving you utility. It's changing the way you think and act. And so, and make decisions. And so that is why you want to read books, not just to like say, I've read 1,000 books. Great. What do you know? Like if you really read 1,000 books, you will learn a lot. You just will. You'll internalize a lot, but you have to again be using it. But if the guy over here has read 10 really, high quality books and he's actually read them back and forth, but he's also used a lot of what's in that book, his life will look a lot different than someone who's just read 1,000 books. Reading on itself by itself does not produce results. It's the reading, it's the implementation of the knowledge of the things that you've read. That's what changes stuff. So do that over a long time. Just read like 10 books and just keep crushing it with those 10 books. If you want to get a new book because number 9 is not so good anymore, it's just whatever, get a new book. Add another one into your 10. Have 10 that you're always reading. And you can increase it over time. You can have 20 that you're always reading at some point and whatever. But anyways, that's how I read. So if you want to try it for yourself and mess around with it, different systems and stuff and strategies, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your guys' ways of people that read better than I do. I'm sure they're out there. So, send me a DM or leave it in the comments how you read so we can all learn some more. So check me out. And so finally, guys, we have arrived at my strategy to reading. So how I actually read, this is how. I'm going to give you guys a quick tutorial. And so if I can give you guys a quick little showcase, if you can see here, like Think and Grow Rich is going to be like a lot of boxes and stars. And what I mean by boxes, let me see if I can show you some. This is what I mean by boxes, if you can see that. So the boxes are actually where I want to come back. When I come back through the book, that's where I read again. I skip the things that aren't boxed. And so the boxes that have stars next to them are ones that I cannot skip. Like those ones I need to read twice even after I'm reading them twice. And then the X's on pages are pages that I cannot skip that I should read twice even after I've read the second time. And then the ones that without X's, yeah, I can, go through them pretty quick. Don't have to reread them or anything. I'm not missing anything. The X's on a page, I know I'm missing something. And the X also usually means that it's on the table of contents, which I'll show you guys right here. This is the table of contents. But on the back side of this, I have all of these pages. And sometimes I'll add the stars, which means it's a page that's really important, even though it's on the table of contents. Sometimes there's 2 stars, which means even more important. And then sometimes I'll add the page number. I'll add a couple words right next to it to say what is on that page, if it's a really important page that I need to just get back to pretty often in a book. And so, like I said, this is a strategy I can go kind of more over in a different video and show you guys what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I add boxes. Inside the boxes, I underline things that are really important in the box. If you can see that over there. And then and then I put X's on page, I put stars on pages, I put stars on the table of contents, and then I put the page numbers on the table of contents. So the second, the third, the fourth, the 8th time that I come through a book, well, now I'm only reading pages that are on the table of contents. Every time I pick it up to be like, I feel like I need to read something from Think and Grow Rich right now. Well, then I just pick it up, look at those pages, and then even more so, if I do have a highlighter and stuff, I do highlight the fuck out of these and then just write all over the pages too, if you can see that. And so I do that with every single book that I have. So like this is the same way, the E-Myth Revisited. If you can see a lot less wordy and maybe just a little bigger, but you see the same boxes on everything, star right there on that one, which just means it's really a box that I shouldn't skip, which just says, how do we understand it? I would suggest that value is what people perceive it to be and nothing more. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Sometimes I'll star something and then throw a sticky note on the book of what I think when I'm reading it, like I said, and then I'll come back through and I'll date those so that I can see how I thought about a book over the months and year that I read it and what have you. And so like every time you can come put another sticky note over it to say, oh, on this day I thought this, on this day I thought that, and then over the months you'll see your thinking develop and stuff like that. So that is my reading strategy, sort of. I thought that was going to take a lot longer to show you than it did, but it's literally just that. The table of contents, numbers, the box strategy, around things that you need to read, underlining inside the box to really highlight things that you need to read. This is all with a pen though. And then X's and stars on pages. X's for pretty important, more so important than a normal page, but not as important as a star. Star for really important, and then every single page that I star an X is on the table of contents. Those ones I also put stars and X's to really reinforce whether or not a page is important to me. Sometimes I add words next to it to show what is on that page if I really need to go read that page a lot over time. And then, so that's kind of how I do that. And so I might make one more small video, detailing that some more. And so I can actually show you that in real time, how I do it and how it helps and why it works. And I guess, cause like I said, I just designed it out of nowhere, just as I read books, but I know like some people have found it useful already when I've shown them. So I just wanted to share it with you guys. But I did write a little like curriculum. If you want to learn that step by step, I'll make another video on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of those reading tips and things that I think about reading. There's a lot more. But maybe, like I said earlier, if anyone comes away with anything from this video, it's just to pick up a book and they actually go do that. And that is my hopes, that it just changes the way somebody thinks about their life. So, because when you change the way you think about your life, you change the way you take actions. And when you change the way you take actions, you change the results. And so if I could just change one person's life by having them go read a book from all the shit that I just said about books, then please, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to congratulate you and be proud of you for reading a book. So I'll see you guys very soon. If you guys want to subscribe to my newsletter, it's in the description. If you guys want to see my other social media content, it's also down there. And same thing with my planner, it's also down there in the description. I think it's free right now for Notion, so you could just duplicate it right over. So go check that out too. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching and sticking through to the end of this video. Please have a very good night, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.